under the theme, Powering Africa for Reliable, Affordable, Inclusive, Sustainable, and Clean Energy for All, to discuss and agree on the overall objectives and targets, policy, priorities, challenges, and commitments to invest in our energy sector. And we, 1, commend Her Excellency Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, President of the United Republic of Tanzania, for hosting this important summit and for her leadership in championing clean cooking in Africa. 2, recognize the leadership and commitment of President Akinwumi Adesina of the African Development Bank Group and President Ajay Banga of the World Bank Group for their historic and transformative initiative. 3, acknowledge the leadership and support of the chairperson of the African Union, His Excellency President Mohamed Ould Ghazouani of the Islamic Republic of Mauritania, as well as the chairperson of the African Union Commission, His Excellency Mr. Musa Faki Mahamat. 4, acknowledge the urgent need to address the stark reality that nearly 600 million Africans lack access to electricity, and almost 1 billion lack access to clean cooking solutions, despite significant progress. 5, recognize that achieving the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal number 7 for affordable, reliable, sustainable, and modern energy for all by 2030 requires concerted efforts and unprecedented investment across the energy value chain. Country platforms such as the National Energy Compacts provide the framework for coordinated actions and shall be in place by the end of 2025. 6, appreciate the critical role of partnerships in mobilizing resources for energy access initiatives such as Mission 300, with the World Bank Group and the African Development Bank Group targeting electrification for 250 million and 50 million people, respectively. 7, commend the African Development Bank Group and the World Bank Group for the planned allocation of $48 billion in financing through 2030, and complementing this with increasing private sector financing, as well as technical assistance for advancing energy sector reform and access across Africa. We understand that this allocation will evolve to fit implementation needs. 8, commend the co-financing commitments announced by Agence Française de Développement of $1 billion, the Islamic Development Bank of $2.65 billion, Asia Infrastructure Investment Bank of between $1 billion to $1.5 billion, and the OPEC Fund for International Development, $1 billion in support of energy access activities on the continent. 9, acknowledge the contributions of our partners towards the recent generous replenishment of IDA 21 and call for a similarly generous replenishment of the ADF, Africa Development Fund 17, to increase concessional resources at long-term maturity available for our countries to accelerate access to electricity and clean cooking. 10, acknowledge the efforts of the African Union under the AU Agenda 2063 towards energy access, energy security, and regional integration, and the strategic roles of the AU flagship energy initiatives, including the African Single Electricity Market, the Continental Power System Master Plan, and the Program of Infrastructure Development in Africa toward achieving the goals of Mission 300. 11, recognize that the private sector needs to play a central and determinant role in the entire energy value chain towards meeting the continent's energy access goals, including both on-grid as well as in distributed renewable energy and clean cooking solutions, and therefore, creating an enabling environment for private sector investment is critical. 12, agree to a united vision of delivering energy to Africans, recognizing its transformative role in ending poverty, improving health, and driving industrialization to foster economic development across sectors. 13, and here is the commitment. Hereby resolved to undertake the following. 1, pursue ambitious yet achievable goals for access to electricity and clean cooking solutions. Increase the shares of renewable energy in the energy mix, and increase private capital mobilization, and take control and time-bound actions to A, efficiently rehabilitate and expand power generation, transmission and distribution network infrastructure at competitive costs based on least cost power systems planning principles that consider not only natural resources, but also tap into cost-effective generation options regionally, and through competitive and transparent procurement processes that attract qualified bidders and secure best prices. B, leverage the benefits of increased regional integration by investing in interconnections, harmonizing transmission planning, pricing, standards, and grid codes with the power pools, and fostering cooperation among countries to unlock Africa's full energy potential, including gas, as well as hydropower, solar, wind, geothermal, and other clean energy sources. C, embrace distributed renewable energy and clean cooking solutions as critical elements of the energy access agenda by adopting the multi-tier framework for energy access definition, least cost electrification strategies and plans with an emphasis on energy efficiency, as well as national clean cooking strategies with realistic targets. D, incentivize private sector participation to unlock resources by creating an enabling environment through supportive regulations, effective fiscal policies with appropriate incentives and innovative financing mechanisms grounded in cost-benefit analysis. Further, incentivize African investors and support the development of an African electricity industry. E, ensure financially viable utilities that prioritize energy security and provision of reliable, affordable, and sustainable electricity services through appropriate reforms and actions, including tariff adjustments and efficiency improvement measures to ensure utilities achieve at least 100% operational cost recovery at the earliest possible time, and timely publication of audited financial statements. 2, take adequate measures for institutional strengthening and capacity building with an emphasis on timely and successful implementation and greater synergies with existing partnerships. 3, commit to prioritize gender equality by accelerating access to energy for women and implementing actions that catalyze access to opportunities in employment and entrepreneurship in the energy sector. 4, prioritize our national budgetary resources to complement resources from development partners, philanthropies, and the private sector for the implementation of Mission 300 objectives. Number 14, with the aim of providing access for modern energy for 300 million people in Africa, we commit to bold action and political support by adopting this declaration. And finally, 15, request the African Union Commission to facilitate the submission of this Dar es Salaam Declaration by the Africa Heads of State Energy Summit on providing access to electricity for 300 million Africans to the African Union Assembly for its consideration and adoption.